I got to play SpongeBob Squarepants Titans of the Tide. Thanks to a demo from THQ Nordic, I was able to check out some of the first few levels of the game. And some of you may not know, but SpongeBob was my favorite show growing up, and it's literally been a part of me for my whole life. I can swear to all of you that not a single day goes by where I don't make a reference to the show in some capacity. I've always thought of the original Battle for Bikini Bottom to be the first video game I can remember owning and playing for myself. And since I seriously enjoyed the follow-up game, The Cosmic Shake, in 2023, saying that I was excited for this new entry would be an understatement. SpongeBob Squarepants Titans of the Tide is a brand new 3D platformer from THQ Nordic and Purple Lamp, releasing on November 18th, 2025 on Nintendo Switch 2, PS5, Xbox, and PC. The story begins on an extra special day at the Krusty Krab with SpongeBob, Mr. Krabs, and Squidward because today the restaurant is having a special. You spend time learning the controls as you jump and clean up the mess around the restaurant to prepare it for opening. It almost seems out of character for Mr. Krabs to be holding any type of sale, let alone a half-off sale, but we'll suspend our disbelief. As a huge fan of both of the previous games and the movie game, as soon as they put me in control of both SpongeBob and Patrick, the controls came flooding back to me. Seriously, it felt like second nature and like I never stopped playing. And even though their moves are different this time around, it all felt just right. Soon the Flying Dutchman shows up and tries to scare the customers in line, but is quickly humbled before he gives in and just decides to wait. Right when it's his turn to order, King Neptune shows up and is immediately escorted to the front of the line by Mr. Krabs.
Squidward, a dozen of our finest half-off Krabby Patties for our revered king. Of course. Squidward will be happy to pay for your patties.
After a short spat between Neptune and the Dutchman, the king quickly makes his escape while the Flying Dutchman is sent into a fit of rage, transforming SpongeBob and some of the customers into ghosts and sending the Krusty Krab into chaos. The animations really shine in this opening cutscene. It's not like this is the first time we've seen SpongeBob characters in 3D, but they've replicated the show's 2D art style in 3D very well. I've seen other examples where it's easy to make SpongeBob look terrifying in 3D. And everybody is animated so expressively, and the whole presentation is just full of that iconic SpongeBob charm. After the intro cutscene, the game shifts gears and puts you in control of Patrick on his way to the Krusty Krab. Right away, I could already tell how he plays just slightly differently than SpongeBob, but has his own advantages. I really enjoyed how the game switched it up right away, and it served as a great tutorial to show why you would need to switch characters later on. The objective for now is clear: get to the Krusty Krab. But along the way there are multiple branching paths that offer tikis to destroy or collectibles to pick up, and it's these extra paths that just made exploring the world fun. You could easily go from point A to point B, but the environments are big enough, yet still condensed, that it made me want to be sure I found everything and picked it up before moving on. Playing as Patrick in this section is also where we get our first trial at the combat in the game. It's pretty simple, most enemies can be hit with a few punches, but Patrick can also pick up enemies and throw them. Both SpongeBob and Patrick can attack, jump, dodge roll, and even glide for a little bit by holding the jump button in the air. SpongeBob has a karate kick that can be used as a homing dash to dash toward balloons or reach far off platforms, and Patrick can burrow into the ground as well as pick up objects to throw and also grapple targets. Now this is the first time you could play as somebody other than SpongeBob in these games since the Battle for Bikini Bottom remake in 2020, and I was really expecting it to be just about the same controls, you know, just another game in the same engine, and I was surprised at just how differently they play here than in previous entries. And I'll talk about the two of them together in a second, but once I made it to the Krusty Krab as Patrick and defeated the boss, I found myself on the Floating Patty, a flying mobile version of the Krusty Krab, which appears to serve as the central hub for the game. And now that SpongeBob and Patrick are reunited, there are now two playable characters at my disposal.
I can prove it! Here's my BFF ring! And you're not BFFs with a monster, are you?
Huh? SpongeBob, it is you!
Whoop!
What just happened?
Yay! Huh? It's our BFF rings! We can swap anytime we want! Eureka!
My turn, my turn!
So I mentioned how this is the first time you can play as somebody other than SpongeBob since Battle for Bikini Bottom. One of the new additions to your controls in Titans of the Tide is the ability to switch seamlessly between SpongeBob and Patrick. At the literal push of a button, you can change characters and it happens instantly. Being able to finally play as another character is so refreshing. And there's no more waiting at a bus stop or a loading screen. And because SpongeBob and Patrick have their own strengths, it makes the ability to change so quickly all the more convenient. I spent most of my time running around the areas as SpongeBob, but if I noticed there was something I needed to pick up, I could easily switch to Patrick. There was no need to backtrack or have to remember where this objective was. It also allows for a little bit more creative puzzles. And I'm kinda hoping that maybe toward the late game we see some kind of puzzle where I'll need to rapidly switch back and forth between the two to take advantage of their abilities. Then again, I know this is a game targeted pretty much toward kids, so I don't know if they'd get that complicated. It's really awesome how this doesn't affect the flow of gameplay at all, and it doesn't matter who you spend most of your time playing as. Picking SpongeBob or Patrick can literally come down to personal preference. I also like how it allows both SpongeBob and Patrick to feel more like characters in the story. I know Patrick was there in Cosmic Shake, but I wasn't really too crazy about him taking the form of a balloon companion for most of the game. It's a small nitpick, but it no longer exists thanks to this change. And speaking of the story, the game is fully voiced by the original cast of the show. I think it was also like this for the Cosmic Shake, but Battle for Bikini Bottom had some very noticeable differences. And much like the Cosmic Shake, I found that the writing in Titans of the Tide does a great job at capturing the humor and energy of the beloved earlier seasons of SpongeBob that I grew up with. Now, I haven't really tuned into any of the new episodes of the show, but I imagine that it's similar to this. All of the familiar characters have their voices and they sound great, but I especially love how vocal and witty the incidentals are.
I demand to see the manager. I'm not leaving here till I do.
This really does feel like a brand new movie or an episode rather than a video game, and it's fun seeing characters who may not normally interact with each other have a few lines to share. And also aboard the floating patty is a patty flipping minigame and Pearl's Boutique. Here you can exchange money for costumes that SpongeBob and Patrick can wear. This was a very fun feature of the Cosmic Shake, and I'm glad it's back. I especially love how they reference classic episodes and are just a fun way to experience the game. I'm very excited to see how many costumes are featured in the full game and what they are. Once I took care of some more tutorial business on the floating patty, I was allowed to explore the first level, Goldfish Island. From here, it became so clear to me that Titans of the Tide would be much closer in structure to Battle for Bikini Bottom than the Cosmic Shake. What I mean by this is that the levels feel more open and more inviting to explore rather than the more linear progression found in the previous game. It's here on Goldfish Island that we meet Captain Goldie and learn of her treasure, so you know why Mr. Krabs is here. So SpongeBob and Patrick agree to try and find out how to unlock the mystery and wonders of the jungle to find the hidden gold. It's a totally legit resort. Yeah. Totally not just a tourist trap restaurant. What I got to play of this level felt like a fun and unique addition to the world of SpongeBob and didn't feel too similar to other beach-themed levels. Setting it in a sort of vacation site actually made it feel more unique. I found it really fun to try and chain some karate kicks with other moves to try and reach certain parts of the map quicker than intended. Sure, I died a couple times, but I always respawned in a convenient location and could keep going. At a certain point of the level, I met Sandy, and she unlocks the ability to ride on a ghost board throughout the level, which is a surfboard that lets you ride on top of the water that would otherwise damage or kill you. This is yet another ability easily accessed at the push of a button, which I surprisingly kept forgetting to use. It's a fast method of traversing the level, but it did seem to be specific to Goldfish Island. I wasn't able to play any other levels, so I'm not sure if this is a permanent moveset addition. I spent most of my time in the demo in this level, jumping around, smacking the NPCs, watching whatever this guy is doing, trying to reach places that the game really doesn't want me to go to, and I was really just trying to grab all the collectibles I could find. You can catch jellyfish, pick up coins, and there's even a few side quests to see here which include some familiar characters. There's Larry's surfing race, Mrs. Puff's trash collection, and Squidward's art workshop. All three of these missions have you performing some sort of task for the characters in exchange for some reward. Sometimes it was more gold, other times it was unlockable costumes, and they all have some sort of quip or interaction with the character you decide to talk to them as. Again, it's some more of that detail to really help sell this world as the Bikini Bottom we all know and love, and every character has the personality you'd expect them to have.
Now listen up, everyone. And that means you too, Mr. Squidward. We got a gas bag ghost to find so he can fix this mess.
Aye, Captain.
Aye, sir.
I really enjoyed the time I got to spend playing Titans of the Tide. I'm really excited to see what the full game has to offer, like boss fights against the Flying Dutchman, King Neptune, and even Hibernation Sandy, as well as some more iconic locations such as Mount Bikini and Neptune's Palace. If you're as excited about Titans of the Tide as I am and want to pre-order it, I'll have a link to the game down below as well as the game's official website. If you like this video, please be sure to like and subscribe as I'll be covering the full game when it launches next month on November 18th, and I even plan to have an unboxing of the exclusive Ghostly Edition. But that's all for now, so thanks for watching and I'll see you guys next time.